Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And as usual, I'm going to talk about developments that have a direct correlation to XRP and its use case. Reason being, well, I don't know if you are just curious about XRP or maybe you are thinking about de-risking and selling some of your investment, or maybe you're thinking about adding to your portfolio. The purpose of these videos that I do is to help understand how XRP is being used so that you can evaluate those choices. And yeah, I might have a lot of fluff at the end of my videos, but everything else in between is really made to help you understand what it is you might hold, might sell, or might add to. This is today going to focus on remittances. And it's really important that we focus on the use cases, because without speculation in the marketplace, and we don't have a lot of speculation right now, we want to still work towards that impact on supply. The more use cases there are, the more utility that is actually done, performed, executed, the more impact it will have. And today, the focus is going to be that impact on the use case of remittances. So yesterday, I did a really good video on the use case of esports and gaming, which XRP is really a beautiful fit for in regards to the economy that could be billions of dollars in that marketplace. But today we're going to look at remittances. And I want you to listen to this portion of the Committee on the Banking and Housing and Urban Affairs. It's about 45 seconds long. This is a hearing that took place yesterday. This is the Honorable J. Christopher Giancarlo. He's the senior counsel to Wilkie Farr and Gallagher law firm. And he's also the former chairman of the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And so you'll want to hear what he is asked about and how he answers. And it really gave me great pause. And I had some thoughts I want to share with you.
Petition. China just announced plans to create an East Asia cross-border payment network using a cryptocurrency based on a basket of four currencies: China's own yuan, the Japanese yen, the South Korean won, and the Hong Kong dollar. What's the significance of that for the United States?
Will allow them to make direct payments in this new currency without having to go through foreign exchange markets, many of which are based in the United States, to convert currency using dollars as a settlement mechanism. So it will extend the RMB's global importance and its entrance into the world of reserve currencies.
Wow. So they are going to use a digital currency that's backed by those fiats here in Asia so that they can do transfers without dipping into the dollars. So what it really does, well, first, absolutely, it validates the Ripple XRP model. That's for sure. It'll also probably light a fire under the West to catch up, because they really do need to catch up. Regulation, in my opinion, in the West will probably come sooner than later because of this development. I'm really happy that Mr. Giancarlo is doing this education. It's so critical right now. The timing is so crucial. And the last thought I had was China is clearly moving forward quickly with the digitization in a very clear and determined way. If you have any other thoughts, boy, I'd love to hear them in the comment section. But today, there is a Ripplenet user in the news, and it's one of the banks which ranks in the top 1,000. This is a bank that's located in Sri Lanka. It is the Houghton National Bank, usually referred to as HNB, and that's the country's second largest non-governmental commercial bank. The bank recorded a 15% year-on-year increase in digital remittances, and they are owing that to being part of the Ripplenet blockchain facility that enabled them to continue international transactions uninterrupted during these very unusual times. That's a really positive statement coming out of that bank. And as Naveen Gupta said, who's the managing director for this region, this is an article with the Asian banker that took place in September. And he is really talking about the first thing they do when they go into a new region is they talk with regulators. And they try to remove the myths about crypto assets. And they work very hard on educating them on the benefits. And they first start with letting those banks get comfortable with the technology first, and then Ripple will work closely with the central banks. And right now, according to this article, they're working very closely with the Central Bank of Ireland, and then in the Philippines and also in Mexico. We do know that the Philippines and Mexico is live with on-demand liquidity that uses the digital asset XRP, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear Ireland will join them soon. So everyone needs to save money, right? And everyone needs to increase their working capital right now, especially, and XRP does this. And the XRP Arcade has a good, concise article on this bank and the developments. It provides additional information on the Sri Lankan corridor. Its total it's pretty sizable, 7 billion inbound for this country, with Saudi Arabia at the top for the migrant workers that are sending money home. So what might have gone under the radar is SBI has stakes in 2 banks in Sri Lanka. They have the stake with shares in HNB and also with the Commercial Bank of Ceylon. They actually have a pretty good size share, 8.51% of that bank. And that bank, the Commercial Bank of Ceylon, they are a Ripplenet member. They joined Ripplenet a while ago, back in 2018. Coincidence? Hardly. Mr. Kitao said in 2011, let me show you what he said. Look at that, the young Mr. Kitao. 2011, he said that the SBI Group, having established a globally unique internet-based financial conglomerate in the last 10 years, is accelerating the establishment of our global business presence. The group seeks to evolve to become the world's SBI while riding on the current of the coming Asian century. He's a visionary. I'd say so, because he hadn't even done any deal yet with Ripple, and look where he is today. He opened an office in Sri Lanka in 2018, and then you can see here that they formed a new company called Strategic Business Innovator PVT Limited. And this is a liaison office. And kind of something interesting, there is the SBI financial vice president for that Sri Lanka liaison office, and that is Mark Rubenstein. Move myself down here a little bit. You can see SBI Holdings Japan Sri Lanka liaison office. And he published a very interesting kind of short info article this last summer. And it was in July that he said that he and his partners have created a crypto company because the world's financial future belongs to cryptocurrency. And the company he is a part of has a $780 million cushion, with the main investors being Lloyd's TSB, which is the Trustee Savings Bank. It merged into Lloyd's, and the Russian company Rusal, the world's second largest aluminum company by output, that was recently taken over by the Chinese Hangyao Group. So kind of interesting. I have not done any more vetting on this project or anything. I've just found it very interesting that that was part of that office going on. So you got your rails laid down, right? SBI and Ripple have done a very, very good job, almost reaching critical mass with getting rails laid down in Asia and all throughout from top to bottom. And, you know, they are very well have educated a lot of regulators here too. But when you talk about rails being in Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, etc., if they get that green light to use on-demand liquidity, there's one component that you need, and that is liquidity. You must have liquidity. Today, this is huge. SBI invested $30 million and took a stake in one of the oldest operating market makers in the digital space. This is really, really big news. It is B2C2, and they manage a $60 billion book for FX swaps and a $50 billion repo book. They will serve as SBI's main crypto liquidity provider. Hello, liquidity. I'm telling you, Mr. Kitao is on fire. And when we go jump over to this Finance Magnets article that broke about 8 hours ago, you can see that they think that this might turn out to be one of the biggest deals inked in the crypto prime brokerage market. And the company B2C2 said that they found SBI as the right partner to unlock the next drivers of their growth. And they're going to benefit from SBI's balance sheet, of course, which is far larger than anything committed to the crypto market to date. Wow, that's saying something. It will complement our asset liability management framework, the most sophisticated in the market, to deliver an execution platform that will not only be a game changer in crypto, but also positions us to expand across asset classes as we set our sights on the $20 billion a year prime brokerage market. Wow, I just can't tell you how much I love following what Mr. Kitao is doing. All right, everybody, we are jumping to the fluff. So last night, around midnight, I don't know why, I just felt like going out on my bicycle. And so I did. And I took about an hour and a half cruise through my end of Tokyo. And I ended up in this temple grounds, which is really majestic and quite large. It's called the NUG Temple. And what's interesting about this space, I've been to this space one time before, but I had never been at midnight. Actually, by the time I got there, it was like, I don't know, it was getting close to 1 in the morning. It's always a little eerie to be in these temple grounds, especially alone at that hour. But, you know, I think sometimes it is, well, I like to push myself in that direction sometimes. But this is really what I want to show you. This is the oldest wooden structure in all of Tokyo. It was built during the Muromachi period. This is from the 1300s and the 1400s. They think this hall, this is called the Shikado Hall, is actually something that was built during the 1400s. But it's just, you know, it's amazing. Now, I have to tell you, here I am on my bike, listening to Modern Investor with my earphones on, standing in front of this great hall from the 1400s. And actually, there's an adjacent cemetery that has graves dating to the 1300s. And I'm listening to all this, you know, unbelievable tech going on at lightning speed in our world today among structures and graves that are going back to this period in history. was really surreal. But the point I want to show you is how amazing Japan can embrace the old and new together. I want to show you that they do actually projection mapping a couple of times a year on this old structure. And you would think, wow, it's kind of weird, right? But not really. It's taking an artistic form that is very, very contemporary and modern and today, and then just making it blend so beautifully with something that is that's been built, back in the 1400s. In the old days, just so you know, it used to have a thatched roof, but they have since replaced it with this copper roof. And I think when I just show you a tiny bit of how that projection mapping looks when it's in the real life format, I think you're going to be impressed. I think you're going to say, wow, that is really cool. So they do it every year. And I think this year, I don't know, I had a lot to choose from. I think this is 2013. I think I found the one I love them all, but I loved this particularly. Have a look. Yeah, 2013. Really, really pretty stuff. I really like it a lot. I think it's just a great combination of old and new, which that is my point of how well this country can blend the two. And it's done in many different ways all the time. If you come to Japan and you want someone to show you around for an afternoon, you might use this site called Triple Lights, and you can choose the city that you're in, and there's different guides that are certified and they're rated. You can read their reviews, and they have some plans that you can choose from, or you can just very often do something that you have in mind, and they'll really help you get through the sites, because I have to be honest, it's still a big challenge in this country when probably less than 5% of the population speaks English fluently. It can feel like a real challenge, and not every place has signs, although because the 2020 Olympics were supposed to happen, there was a huge improvement on trying to make this city very tourist friendly, and a lot of English signage and menus and brochures and that were created. So it is much better than it has been in the past. But still, I know for some certain situations, not just because of the language barrier, but the knowledge that these certified guides have is, I think, really worth the money. All right. Yeah, I would even use one if I went to a region of Japan that I was not very familiar with. So, all right, everybody. Yes, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.